Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely pumped to have you here today because, well, we are looking at a massive piece of breaking news, something that completely reshapes how we understand the business of sports. We're going to dive deep into the financial mechanics of the NFL, unpacking a transaction so large it honestly kind of defies logic. Let's look at the anatomy of a record-breaking NFL sale. Okay, let's dive into this. $9.612 billion. Literally, just let that staggering exact price tag sink in for a second. That is the number the Seattle Seahawks just sold for. And remember, we aren't talking about a tech conglomerate or a multinational bank here. We're talking about a professional football team. It's an astronomical figure that instantly resets the market and honestly forces us to completely reevaluate what an NFL franchise is actually worth in today's economy. Section 1. A record-breaking NFL sale as the Seattle Seahawks change hands. So this back-to-back comparison brilliantly illustrates just how wildly the market has inflated in an incredibly short amount of time. I mean, think about it. Just 3 years ago, in 2023, the entire sports world was collectively picking its jaw up off the floor when the group led by Josh Harris and Magic Johnson bought the Washington Commanders for a record $6.05 billion. Everyone thought, okay, that's the absolute ceiling, right? Fast forward to 2026, and the Seahawks have just obliterated that record by over $3.5 billion. In just 36 months, the cost of entry for elite NFL ownership didn't just climb, it completely skyrocketed. To really appreciate the magnitude of this sale, we have to look at the chronological history. Back in 1997, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen stepped in and purchased the Seahawks for $194 million. And that move was absolutely critical. He essentially saved the team from leaving Seattle. For over 2 decades, he built this incredible winning culture, which obviously culminated in a Super Bowl. When Paul tragically passed away in 2018, his sister Jody Allen assumed control. But here's the kicker. The terms of Paul Allen's estate mandated that his assets, including his sports teams, eventually had to be sold. That estate mandate set the timer that led to this exact moment in 2026. It transformed a $194 million investment into a $9.6 billion empire. Talk about a return on investment. Moving on to Section 2, meet the new owners. The Khosla family steps in. So who on earth actually has the capital to make a purchase this massive? Well, the answer is the Khosla family. And to kind of humanize all this raw financial data we're throwing around, consider this quote from Vinod Khosla. He says, "We are honored to be entrusted as the next stewards of the Seattle Seahawks. We look forward to building on the winning legacy Paul Allen created." I really love this because it highlights that despite the billions of dollars exchanging hands here, the incoming owners recognize they're buying into a community trust. They have a very clear respect for the foundation that Paul Allen built. So the crucial point is understanding the logistical hurdles to actually closing a deal of this magnitude. Niro Khosla will serve as the controlling owner alongside a group that includes her husband Vinod and their son Neil. But oh man, here is the major catch. The Khosla family already owns a limited partner interest in a division rival, the San Francisco 49ers. NFL rules are incredibly strict about this. They absolutely must divest that 49ers stake for this purchase to go through. They also had to beat out some heavy hitters to win this bid, including Boston Celtics alternate governors Dwight Grousbeck and Aditya Mittal. The final step of the whole shebang, the rest of the NFL owners are scheduled to vote for approval by August 26, 2026. Now for Section 3, the billion-dollar franchise boom, zooming out on NFL valuations. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of wealth across the entire league. We just talked about the Seahawks selling for an unprecedented $9.6 billion, but look at this 2025 Forbes data. 3 NFL teams are actually valued at over $10 billion. The Dallas Cowboys sit at an incredible $13 billion, generating $629 million in operating income alone. They're followed by the Rams at $10.5 billion and the Giants at $10.1 billion. The Patriots and 49ers round out the top 5. This really shows us that the Seahawks sale price isn't some crazy anomaly. It's a reflection of a new reality at the absolute top of the NFL food chain. And to put that into perspective for the whole league, the average NFL franchise value has now reached $7.1 billion. What you really need to take away from this is that these aren't just sports teams anymore. They just aren't. They are some of the most lucrative, bulletproof corporate assets on the planet. I mean, they're media companies, real estate ventures, and global brands all rolled into one massive package. Let's move to 4 and see how this builds over time. Let's look at the standard bearer for sports valuations, the Dallas Cowboys. Back in 2012, they were valued at $2.3 billion.
Fast forward to 2025, and they are worth $13 billion. That is enough to make your head spin. It's a mind-bending financial explosion over a little more than a decade. The growth curve in the NFL doesn't look like a normal business. It literally looks like a rocket ship.
Which brings us to Section 4. What drives team valuations? The anatomy of value. So, how does a team actually get valued this high? Well, according to Forbes, the valuation of an NFL team is built on 4 distinct pillars. First up, the sport. This is the inherent monetary worth of simply being part of the National Football League, which shares massive national television revenues equally across the board. Second, the market. The size and wealth of the local city and region. Third, stadium deals, and honestly, this one is huge. Who controls the stadium revenues? The luxury suites, the concessions? And fourth, brand power, the global reach and merchandise power of the team's logo and history. These 4 pillars, when supported by hardcore financial metrics like revenue and operating income, dictate the absolute floor and ceiling of what a team is actually worth. Now let's connect those general valuation pillars directly back to the Seahawks. Forbes estimated Seattle's value in 2025 at $6.7 billion, which ranked them 14th in the league at the time. Yet the actual 2026 sale price was $9.612 billion. So why did the Khosla family pay a nearly $3 billion premium? Well, consider the revenue and the infrastructure. The team is generating $624 million in revenue, which shows incredible market strength. But crucially, examine the lease details. They have a rock-solid long-term lease at Lumen Field that runs through 2032, complete with 3 10-year options. That stadium deal provides absolute financial security and stability for decades to come. And at the end of the day, that peace of mind is exactly what you're paying a premium for. We've seen a team bought for $194 million in 1997 sell for $9.6 billion today. We know the average NFL team is now worth $7.1 billion. So I want to leave you with this to think about. With these numbers climbing like wildfire, when will we see the first $20 billion sports franchise? And honestly, is there any ceiling at all to the NFL's financial dominance? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped you structure your understanding of the incredible business of football. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.